Truth.
Truth. Welcome to Trusting the Truth with Samuel Tolley, where we view the world through the lens of Jesus Christ. We do not view Jesus Christ through the lens of the world. How you doing? This is Sam Tolley with Trusting the Truth. Today I want to talk about running from the Demoncrats. It seems like just about every debased, evil thing that's going on in our society, the Democrats are behind these days. And what I'm about to paint is not a pretty picture. The picture I put out, or the flyer, or whatever you want to call it, it encompasses many things. But I'm just going to talk specifically about the children right now and about what these Democrats are doing to our kids. And it's very bad. It's very deadly. And frankly, I'm surprised the church hasn't stood up and fought more vigorously. Everybody knows what's going on. It's like the story about the emperor has no clothes. Everybody can see the guy is butt naked, but nobody wants to speak up, or they don't speak up forcefully enough. Well, I want to be one of those voices that are going to speak up. And I want to preface it with a little scripture. In the book of Proverbs, chapter 22 and verse 6, it says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." That is an admonition to parents, that we have the responsibility to train up the children in the way they should go, that we are supposed to be the foundational instructors of our children. And we're not supposed to pass that off to anyone. Well, I grew up in the 20th century for the most part. And in I was born in 1952. In the first part of my life, this country still had somewhat of a biblical worldview. And I think many parents got comfortable. We were comfortable with the school system, that if we put our children in the schools, they will not be indoctrinated into communism, secularism, atheism, or any of this other stuff. Although I remember at a young age seeing that diagram of, these creatures that morphed up into apes and up until they became a man. And it was put on the front of the classroom. Strangely, when I was growing up, the teachers never talked about it, but that visual was there. Well, now, it's just full-blown atheism that's being taught in schools. When they kicked the Bible out in the early 60s, when they kicked prayer out, there was a vacuum. And the secularists knew, Dewey and the like, that vacuum would be filled immediately with atheist propaganda. And when many conservatives left the educational system, all these non-believers filled the void. And so our children were being instructed by non-believers. And many of us assumed that everything was fine. But during this pandemic, or whatever you want to call it, when all these brilliant minds thought it would be best for us to stay home and not work, many parents had an opportunity to sit down and watch and see exactly what their children were learning. Come to find out, they were learning some very disturbing things that had absolutely nothing to do with preparing them for life in the future as far as finding a decent job. And it was a wake-up call to many folks. Not necessarily to me. My children were already grown. But I'm glad that many parents got an opportunity to see what was going on. And in many respects, it's still going on. And parents aren't stepping up as forcefully as they should. Unfortunately, like I said, when I grew up at a time when we felt comfortable leaving our children in public schools. The churches were still biblical for the most part. The schools still had somewhat of a Christian worldview. Our society as a whole hadn't become completely jaded. Now I think it was just by the grace of God and His Spirit that all hell hasn't broken loose because our society is very jaded today. So let's look at some of this madness, and hopefully, some of you will rise up and start doing your job, especially you parents. But even if you're not raising children, if you've already raised your children, you got to think about your grandchildren or future generations if you have none. If we want this country to survive, the Roman Empire was not destroyed because of the outside forces, it corroded from within. So let's look at some of this stuff and see what's going on in our schools. Let me get rid of this cover sheet. Hold on. Let me back up. Excuse me. From coast to coast, we're being taught all kinds of weird philosophies these days. Here we have it. Oregon suspends graduation requirements, citing discrimination against minority students. I've read some statistics where the schools are really not teaching much of anything outside of this LGBTQ stuff. But they talk about systemic racism. Now, to me, it's systemically racist when you're not holding students accountable for what they should know. So, Oregon stating that they're suspending these requirements because it's racist against minorities. How is that racist against minorities? The only implication that I can arrive from that is saying that folks with a lot of pigmentation are inferior, that we can't learn, that we need somebody to hold our hand. This is going right back to the same kind of racist mentality that said slaves shouldn't be set free because they couldn't do for themselves. Now, the Democrat Party is in charge of the teachers union throughout the whole United States. And one of the things they fight against is vouchers. Vouchers is a form where instead of children go to a school where the money is, the money follows the child. I make the analogy often, and I'll keep making it, that when you go to a store to buy meat, if you walk into that store and the meat's bad, you're not going to buy it. Or if you take it home and it's not suited for eating, you're going to take it back. At any rate, you won't go back to that store. You will find a better store so you can feed your family. The same thing should apply to schools. The public schools are not doing us a favor by quote unquote educating our children. We pay taxes for that. People need to get their brains straight. There's no such thing as a free ride. Just like this thing right now where President Biden is trying to waive all these college tuition fees. All that is moving the bill someplace else. While those students may not have to make direct payments on those bills, all of society will be taxed more. And they'll be paying for it too for a lot longer. So it's not helping us. It's hurting us. And having said that, we need our children to be educated properly. Therefore, if the schools are bad, the parents should have the flexibility to move their child to a better school. So this Oregon thing is a cop-out. Plus, with the teachers union, they get the money and the teachers, and these teachers are hard to fire. There's the requirements are just show up. So, I'm not buying this. I don't care what color you are. You need to be able to perform. And if the teachers can't teach, then they need to be removed. Or the parents should have the option of getting their kids out of that lousy school. Now, this is in Oregon on the West Coast. Look at the East Coast here. We have in the state of Maryland and Baltimore, 23 schools, it was reported, had zero students proficient in math. Zero. I mean, it's unbelievable. 23 schools. We're not talking about 23 students at a school couldn't perform. 23 public schools. And yet these schools aren't closed down. And these parents are still stuck with putting their children in there. I did a video on this very topic last year. Found out many of the people that live in that area work in Washington, D.C., and their kids don't go there. You can bet your sweet bippy that the bureaucrats and the politicians don't put any of their children in those public schools. They put their children in schools that are going to teach them. Why? Because they want their children to learn. See, one of the fallacies that people don't seem to understand is this. The elite, they like being the elite and they want their children to be the elite. So they're going to make sure that their children are educated. And if your children happen to be one of the ones that don't know math, that can't learn anything, or they have to compete with jobs from millions of illegal alien children that come in there, those people don't care because they're making sure that no matter who the serfdom is, their children will be above them. That's why I say vouchers are vital. The parent should have the option to dictate where their child goes, who teaches their child, whether it's homeschool, whether it's a private school, whether it's a parochial school, some kind of religious institution, or whatever. Because unlike Hillary might think, or I think it was the former governor of Virginia, these are not the state's children. They're ours. And this government is supposed to be a government of the people, by the people. And of course, the fact that they dumb down society where they don't know civics, then they think that they have no power, where the power is with the people. And it's inexcusable for any state or city to have a bunch of schools that aren't doing their job, and these people are getting paid, and our children are suffering. Those children are going to end up being wards of the state, one way or the other. They'll be getting welfare, or they'll be robbing people, or they'll be incarcerated. But the schools do want to teach. Don't think for a second that they don't want to teach something. Look at this. New York schools told to keep children gender identities secret from families in some cases. Look at my archives. I did videos on this too. We have schools that will help promote gender confusion. You know, in California, it is against the law. They made a law in the state of California that if a child has a gender confusion issue, you can't get him treatment. If little Johnny, 9 years old, thinks he's a girl, you can't take him to a psychologist and have this person try to talk to him and let him know that he's a boy. It's against the law. Why? Because California has fell off the cliff. And they don't care. Matter of fact, they even made laws in California where if you want your child to be have a sex transplant, well, that's not the right word, sex change operations, and your state prohibits it, they can come to California and do it. So that is, they can have your little girl come in there and they destroy her vagina and make some weird monstrosity that never functions as a real penis. Or they'll take your boy to invert his penis and make some monstrosity of a so-called vagina. And in which case, either one of those children will be lifelong medical patients. They will never have a normal life. Those things done to their body is permanent, and they will never have normal sexual functionality. But my home state, California, is all in for that. But we have a demonic governor anyway. Well, they have a demonic governor. I mean, this guy was so high on abortions that he made a um, what is that billboard that he used the scripture to advertise abortion in the state of California. I pray that he repents. I pray that he asks God's forgiveness before it's too late, because the stuff this man has perpetrated against the children of God is horrendous. And which brings me to another scripture. In Mark chapter 9 and verse 42, it says, "And whoever shall offend one of these little ones that believe in me, it is better for him that a millstone was hanged about his neck and he were cast into the sea." Now, anybody, whether you're a believer or not, okay, somebody put a big millstone around your neck and throw you in the sea, you're going to drown. So you're going to die. But that's not what the scripture is saying. That would be the least of your problems. What would be even more tragic is the fact that after you're dead, you're going to spend eternity in torment, eternity in hell and the lake of fire forever and ever. And people like Mr. Newsom, if they don't change their ways, God has plenty of room for folks like that. So, this keeping parents out of the loop. The guy that was running for governor in Virginia the last time was saying that no, parents shouldn't have anything to do with the education of your children. It's up to us. This is the socialist, communist mentality that basically we just keep the children for them. Look, these people are not about us as parents having rights. These people are about they're in control. Look at this. This is a document from the state of New York last year, creating a safe, supportive, and affirming school environment for transgender and gender expansive students. Number one, there's no such thing as a transgender person. There's a male or a female that has mutilated their body. Let's just be clear. God made them male and God made them female. Anything else is a problem. But they want us to go around and look at these things as they're normal. Or if somebody says, well, look, I identify as a female. They got a law in New York. I don't know if it's the state or the city, but I read it years ago, where that if you misgendered somebody in a business and you refuse to call him a man, I'm confusing myself. You call a dude that wants to be called Mrs. Jones, Mr. Jones, they can bill a $25,000 fine against that company. I mean, that's like 1984, where they're saying 2 and 2 is 5. They're going to just make you call a man a woman. Before I quit working in California, before I retired, I remember a memo came out, and it was a dress code memo. And basically, what it was saying, I said, look, if a guy that you're working with decides that he wants to wear a dress to work, you can't say nothing. Fortunately for me, I didn't experience that. But it was said, if he says that he's a girl, he wants to wear a dress, got a full beard and the whole 9 yards, so be it. This is the kind of stuff they're doing, people. As of the recording of this, we're approaching June, June 2024. And everybody knows that's like the uh, month they celebrate the LGBTQ whatever. But did you know that ain't good enough for these people? Did you know that October is LGBT History Month? Did you know that? October, LGBT history. So you got the whole month of June where they're feeding this stuff, and we got the whole month of October where they're indoctrinating our children. Like I said, oh, by the way, I mentioned this. I don't know about your state, but in California also, they made a law, Newsom, a couple of years back, that part of the history curriculum is to learn about famous LGBTQ people. And when I thought about that, I said to myself, all through my academic years, we learned about all kinds of people, good people, bad people, all kinds of people that made good contributions to society, were awful for society, cultural differences, whatever. But never at any time did we have classes designed based on somebody's sexual proclivities. That didn't exist until this stuff. They used to talk about us Christians. Oh, the homosexual community, they just want to be let out the closet. They just want to live their lives. They weren't going to bother anybody. Well, we know better, don't we? Not only do they want to bother folks, we are supposed to affirm them. They demand that we affirm them, that we accept them, that we promote them. It was only due to the fact that last year all hell broke loose with that Bud Light thing when they had that man masquerading on the Super Bowl as a woman, and then the Target thing where they had these with the tuck friendly bathing suit and some of these clothes made by this demonic person. This person said that they follow some kind of Satanism or something along that lines. The people start rising up and withholding their money, and that's one of the things that sort of bit back at this nonsense. Well, I think people should continue to withhold their money. I think people should not just withhold their money. They should make sure they withhold their children and demand that they have the rights to take their kids out of any of this stuff. I didn't think about it. Just there was recently, I just read about, I think it's in Maryland, but I'm not sure, so don't hold me to it, about they just made a law where you cannot even take your kid out of LGBT classes or stuff like that where the school wants to teach it. Well, I think parents need to parent, and parents need to stand up and not take this crap. But see, just like with this stuff is so deep. Last year they had Coming Out Month, and then they had National Coming Out Day. So this is a copy. This was the city of LA. This was with their school. This was around all their schools in LA. And they had every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, where they had this national week of action. And like this person on Monday, this Jazz Jennings person, this is a dude whose parents had him mutilated as a little boy. Supposedly, as a little boy, he knew he was a girl. And so this boy has had a life that's been I never saw the movie Truman's what was it, the Truman Story or something, where this guy's life was on TV. Well, this guy's life's been on reality TV since he's a little boy. And they've chronicled his desire to have a normal life and to be a normal teenager and to want to be able to date and stuff. Now, I don't know if anybody's dated this person or not. I remember reading it one time where, and I'm gonna call him a he because he's a he. He was frustrated because he wasn't getting dates. And maybe he didn't realize it, but men or teenage boys, they want real girls or real women. Then I saw another situation where his mother was fighting with him, trying to get him to dilate. Now, this might be a little graphic. If you have your little children, just be forewarned. When they construct these artificial vaginas, the body, the human body wants to heal itself. So these people have to insert something, I guess like a dildo. Maybe they don't use necessarily a dildo. Maybe they got some kind of medical apparatus. They have to insert that thing in there to keep it from closing up. Because the body, his body knows that this ain't normal. So all these folks, to make these artificial vaginas, they're trying to pretend like they're women. They have to wear, they gotta, I don't know if they have to do it every day, do it most of it. I don't know, I don't know. But that thing isn't real. The real vagina in a woman, she don't have to do that. That thing will expand to have a baby, and it'll go right back to where it's supposed to be, and it will operate the way it's designed for sexual activity or using the restroom, just the way God made it. But that's not what these people are. These people have been butchered and they're sold this lie. In the UK, they're backing away from this, and a lot of these Scandinavian nations, they're backing away from this kind of stuff. They seen that this experiment has gone wrong and it's bad, because once you go down that route, once you mutilate yourself, you start taking these cross-sexual hormones and stuff, you jack yourself up. But America, we're still knee deep into it, and the schools and the libraries, it's bad. It's real bad. I'll show you some more bad stuff. Here's a couple of books. Sex is a funny word. Isn't that something? We're teaching little kids. I mean, I had a sex education class when I was in the 6th grade, and we sort of laughed and giggled. We had an idea of what was going on by then, but we were at least mature enough to understand something. Now I hear some of these books, and I didn't put any of these up here, looks pornographic. I mean, they're getting explicit. They're talking about different sexual techniques and things. Male on female, male on male, female on female. They're putting these things in school libraries. Why? I mean, have we evolved to the point now where little kids need this information? Not unless if you're involved with NAMBIA, the North American Man-Boy Love Association, I think what it's called, where they're promoting pedophilia. They want to make that legal, folks. Here's another book. This one, RuPaul, this drag queen. They got shows on TV where they're celebrating these drag queens. And everybody's supposed to like this stuff. I think it's disgusting. Parents that take their little children to go see grown men dressing up like weird women are sick. How come you just won't let a kid be a kid? How is that supposed to be entertaining? And any grown man that's dressing up like a woman is an abomination, according to Scripture. And I'm not going to walk away from Scripture. I'm not going to sit over there and try to pacify it. I'm not going to sit over here and try to make it sound like it's not what it is. It is what God said it is. And if people don't like it, then they don't like God. They don't have to like me. I ain't important. He is. But they have all kinds of books. As a matter of fact, there's a pastor, and if I've been thinking about Amachuka, I think is his name, that goes around to these different school boards and reads these children books to the school boards. And in many cases, the school boards at the school board meetings with a bunch of adults make him stop because they say what he's reading is inappropriate. But he's reading a children's book that's in the children's library. They've kicked him out for trying to read books that these school boards that he's talking to allow minors to read. This is horrible, people. I want to show you a video, a snapshot of a book. I took there was a 9-minute clip, a 9-minute video that's on Facebook. Excuse me, on YouTube, talking about My Shadow is Pink. I truncated it to about 3 minutes or so, just to get the gist. I didn't want to do the whole thing, but you can go on YouTube and watch it. They want you to. They have a book by the same name. I want you to watch this short video, and then we can talk about it for a second. This is great marketing for the demonic. When I was reading a lot of the comments after watching that 9-minute video, oh, that father was really cool. Oh, this was so great. Oh, this was so touching. Oh, this is no. Men are supposed to raise their sons to be men. Men are supposed to raise their daughters to be women. Anything else is twisted. This is not God's design for a man to sit over there and placate something that needs to be straightened out. You making your son a girl or affirming debauchery is wrong. Now, I'm talking purely from a Christian worldview. And actually, I'm just talking from a worldview of normal people. I think that folks that think differently are abnormal. I mean, I'm not saying they're necessarily worse people than I am. But what I'm saying is that was not God's design. And we are supposed to always affirm God's design. But our society is not trying to affirm God's design. Our society is trying to affirm wickedness, debauchery, anything that turns itself against the will of God. I didn't bring my goals of the Democrat Party, but one of them, I think it was, matter of fact, I'll get it. Excuse me, not the Democrat Party, the Communist Party, which was read into the congressional record in 1963. Number 26, present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. This was set up many years ago to infiltrate our society. They want that. Discredit the family as an institution. Encourage promiscuity and easy divorce. That's number 40. Number 41, emphasize the need to raise children away from the negative influence of parents, attributes, prejudices, mental blocks, and retarding our children to suppressive influence of parents. The whole idea of this is to break down the family structure. Communism cannot exist within the family structure. God made us to be man and woman and to raise our children and have a family. But the evil can't fight with that structure, so they have to try to break it down. I remember a couple of years ago when Mr. Biden became president, I saw this commercial, and it was showing military. It was showing how vigorous and strong the Russian military was. And then it was showing how vigorous and strong the Chinese military was. And then it showed some American military with some women promoting a feminized environment. And I remember Biden them talking about getting some pregnancy flight suits and all kinds of silly stuff. When war is by design an occupation of death. And God made men to stand in the front lines of society, to stand in there in case death needs to be dealt with, needs to be administered, or need to be taken upon us because we were given that role. But see, our society now wants to get rid of that. Our society wants to get rid of females. That's just like with Biden in Title IX, where he wants to erase women's sports. And I was always amazed that our, all these so-called feminists that always claim that they were crying about the women's glass ceiling and standing up for women and all this stuff and all this other stuff are quiet, while they're just eviscerating women's sports by putting dudes in there. I thought these people love women. all these liberals like The View and all these jokers on TV always running their mouth. They should be raising pure sand about what's happening in girls' sports. But every time I hear them, they're screaming about Trump. They're screaming about Republicans. They're saying that, oh, they're racist and xenophobic. Yeah, he was xenophobic because he tried to put a wall up, and now we got millions of illegals here. And now they're gaslighting us, trying to tell us, gee, how come these people don't realize how good the economy is? They want to destroy our families. But you know what? This stuff isn't new, folks. Back in 2011, there was a cartoon that came out. It was a primetime cartoon. When I was a little kid, back in the early 60s, we had the first primetime cartoon on TV. It was the Flintstones. And we used to love to come home and watch the Flintstones. Flintstones were great. We didn't have VCRs. I know a lot of kids don't even know what that is now, or TiVo, or some kind of capacitor that we can record stuff and watch it later. We had to be there and watch the show. Of course, as things progressed, technology did, and now we can watch stuff whenever we want to. But we used to watch the Flintstones. It was a caveman family. It was just basic life. It was still in that somewhat Christian worldview. But that thing has changed. It's been changed. And in 2011, there was one of the most demonic, evil shows I ever witnessed came on television. And it's called The Alan Gregory Show. It only lasted 7 episodes. I only watched the first one. And for this video, I tried to look it up, and I couldn't find a decent copy. But I found one that's slightly altered, and I chopped it down enough for you can see how debased, how pedophilic, how just evil it was. Matter of fact, I wrote a letter to Fox and Rupert Murdoch right after watching that stuff. I never heard from them people. I tried to tell other folks about it, but apparently it sucked so bad they took it off the air. But I just want you to see just how evil it was, 13 years ago? Watch this. It's about 3 minutes. And I'm telling you, this was on network television. You probably don't want your kids to see this mess.
Are you okay?
I'm sorry. Come here. No. Pop up here, Chair Bear. Look, whether we have money problems or we don't, we'll get through it together.
Well, that makes me feel like we do. Because if we didn't, there wouldn't be anything to get through?
It's so much stronger than our steady financial decline.
Wait, so there is...
Jeremy, stop reading into stuff. You're starting to sound like the bank.
Hey, sorry for going ballistic back there. I think the whole Julie being alive thing affected me more than I thought.
Maybe you're a little nervous about going to school. It's a big change, pal.
Ugh, Jeremy, I so cannot deal with your dumb logic right now. Like, where is this job stuff even coming from?
Yeah, where is this coming from, Jeremy?
You?
Hey, Dad. Do you think the kids at school will like me? I mean, not that I care, Jeremy.
Oh, of course they will. You are a bright, shining star. They're gonna love you.
Thanks, Dad. And thanks, Jeremy.
You're welcome.
For screwing up my entire life. You didn't let me finish. Please don't ever interrupt me again.
Well, that went well. Come here, you.
Oh, yeah, I'm really exhausted.
That's okay. I'll do the heavy lifting.
Did anyone catch the Charlie Rose the evening before last? Did you catch it? No? Nothing?
Hang on a second, ladies. I think we just may have found a bigger loser than us.
Good looking out, Wayne.
You got it! Hey, just throw down a Rishikoss and try to enjoy our lunch, huh? Take the edge off.
Excuse me.
Great, this train wreck.
What do you think you're doing?
Ow! It's just a little Pinot Gris at lunch, Gina!
Hello. Oh, that's good.
Let me ask you something. Is it just like a complete mess down there?
I'm gonna level with you. It's like post-Katrina.
Oh, damn it, you're perfect.
Alan Gregory. Alan Gregory. Alan Gregory.
Yeah, sorry, I just never had my breath taken away from me like that before.
Okay. Mrs. Winthrop said you were drinking alcohol at lunch.
Shut up, shut up. Enough about that idiot. Let's talk about us.
I'm sorry.
I don't like to play games, the whole wait 3 days to text you, flirt with other women in front of you. It's exhausting. Let's just cut to the chase. We're in love with each other.
I think you have the wrong idea. We're not going to be texting each other. We're not in love. There's absolutely nothing between us.
There's a desk between us.
Okay.
Pencils, papers. What's that? That looks like stool softener? That's between us.
Okay, I've had just about enough of this.
Ah, me too. It's been a long day. Why don't I call Jean-Michel at Il Portofino? We'll get a table outside. Oof, I'm not getting a lick of service. Babe, can I hop on your landline?
Alan Gregory.
What are we dialing, 9 to get out? Is it 9?
Alan Gregory?
Babe, I pick up, hit 9, and then dial what?
Alan Gregory, be quiet! What was that?
Nothing.
Sounded like something.
Yeah, I should probably take off, though. Hey, unrelated, is there a bidet on school grounds? Never mind. Hey, Joe, look, the new kid is crying. Yeah, I think he cracked himself.
2011, folks. To be honest with you, there's probably been more weird, nasty stuff on the air since then because I haven't been watching it. But we're in trouble as a society, and we need to protect our children. And we don't protect our children, who's going to protect our children? And the Democrat Party is all for this stuff. They're all for this stuff, or they wouldn't be allowing it in the schools. And for those of you that like Disney, you know, when I was a deacon, I tried to warn my deacon board about Disney many years ago. They didn't listen to me. Look at this. Disney sponsors Paris gay pride event featuring transgender prostitute. I mean, Disney is into stuff, people. They are into weird stuff. What is this? Disney's Gay Green Strange World to lose $147 million. See, a lot of people, they ain't watching a lot of the Disney crap anymore, which is a good thing. And you shouldn't let your kids sit over there and watch Disney Plus or any of that demonic debauchery nonsense without you pre-screening it. Disney embraces drag queens. Marvel Studios Ironheart cast RuPaul's drag queen star Shia Cooley. Remember we just watched earlier a RuPaul children's book? You know, our schools, our culture, the entertainment field, they're all bringing all this junk. But they don't want you to have control over your children. They want your children sexualized and desensitized. We need to take back control, people, and stop letting them put all these weird cartoons. And even Barney is LGBTQ these days. And we got other cartoons where they got young girls kissing each other. You know, they got these morphed looking weird creatures. But these people, it's all about debauchery. It's all about sexuality. It's all about controlling the minds of our children when they are our responsibility. We need to take back that responsibility. You need to walk away from the Demoncrats that promote this stuff. Oh, some say, well, I don't believe in this. Really? Who do you see? You tell me any political people that are promoting transgenderism and drag queens. That's the Democrat Party. Just like to promote abortion on demand up until the moment of birth. You even had that former governor from Virginia talking about, well, if the baby is born, then we'll have a conversation with the mother. Conversation about what? To see if we'll let it die or not. Just like people don't want to acknowledge that when Barack Obama was a state senator, he was all about letting aborted babies that survived the abortion lay up in a room and die. But black folks talk about Obama, then they get all hysterical because that is an idol you ain't supposed to touch. Anybody, I don't care I don't care who it is. When they go against the thing of God, we have to stand up against it. We promote righteousness and truth. And of all these things that I show you are going on now, what's going to happen when your grandkids grow up if the Lord tarries? You that are Christians are supposed to be light and salt. You are supposed to speak up for righteousness and truth. You're not supposed to lay back and wait on the rapture. You're not supposed to just say, well, I love the Lord and I ain't bothering nobody. And I don't believe in that stuff, but I'm going to vote for politicians because I'm supposed to vote for this party. No, you vote as close to people that believe in a biblical worldview as you can, regardless of party. People think that, I'm stuck on the Republican Party. No, I'm not stuck on any party. I'm stuck on this. This is what I'm stuck on. I'm going to live or die on this right here. When I meet my maker, it's going to be based on this, the instructions and the information he gave me and what he said. I'm not going to depend on anybody else because there won't be nobody else there for me to talk to. There won't be nobody else there to plead my case. Jesus is pleading the case now. He is the mediator between God and man. But it's up to us to obey. You and me. And we're not supposed to sacrifice God's children that he's given us to debauchery and evil. Stand up for what's right, folks. Stand up for what's right. This is Sam Tolley, and I'm out.